Holocaust Memories Never Forget. Section 3, Edge of the Abyss. Part 5. From Kristallnacht, November 1938, until Germany invades Poland on the 1st of September 1939. In the fall of 1933, Hitler began forcing all hospitals, medical facilities, old age homes, and sanatoriums to identify for future sterilization anyone whose physical, medical, or mental condition made them racially impure. Estimates vary, but records indicate that between 1933 and 1939, well over 300,000 people were forced to endure such a medical procedure. In early 1939, a German couple whose son was born with numerous debilitating conditions requested that the boy be euthanized. Hitler had Dr. Karl Brandt, his personal physician, review the case. Brandt finally ruled in favor of ending Gerhard Kretschmer's life, and on the 25th of July 1939 he was killed with a lethal injection of luminol. Following this, Dr. Brandt's guidelines were to be used to terminate the life of any child or newborn that the state determined to be genetically defective. Within 3 weeks, Hitler had created the Reich Committee for the Scientific Registering of Hereditary and Congenital Illnesses, then placed it under the direction of Dr. Brandt and Reichsleiter Philipp Buhler. This law was used to identify and register all genetically inferior newborns, children, and adults for possible termination. Orders were sent out to nursing and old age homes, children's hospitals, church-run facilities, and psychiatric institutions, directing them to identify any patient who fit into one of 3 following categories. Number 1, those who had been ruled criminally insane by a doctor. Number 2, those diagnosed with at least one of the many debilitating conditions stipulated by this law. And number 3, any patient who had been in one of these facilities for 5 years or more. Unofficially, all non-Aryan patients, but especially Jews, were subject to being euthanized regardless of their medical or mental condition. 6 psychiatric hospitals spread out through Germany, Austria, and Czechoslovakia were used as killing sites for the selected children, and several different levels of deceit were used by the doctors and staff to hide their activities. At first, parents were told that their child was being sent away to a facility offering higher levels of treatment, but only a few weeks later they were informed that their child had died, usually from pneumonia. In reality, most of them were injected or made to drink one of several lethal chemicals, although some patients were gassed to death or died from physical abuse, and a significant percentage of their brains and other body parts were harvested for medical research. The guidelines for euthanizing children started out at birth to age 3, but eventually rose to include patients up to the age of 17. With the termination of Gerhard Kretschmer, the taboo of killing someone simply because they were a burden on society had finally been breached, and Hitler had no intention of ever going backward. Within a short period of time, he mobilized a frighteningly efficient system which allowed doctors to legally euthanize anyone, no matter their age or racial background, as long as they were a threat to Aryan purity. Though initially called Euthanasia Programma, or the Gnadetod-Programme, Merciful Death, it later came to be known as Aktion T4, or simply T4, a name derived from the address of its main headquarters in Berlin, Tiergartenstrasse 4.